everyone. Dustin Reekman here. In today's interview, I have the great honor of speaking with Tom Terwilliger. Tom is an achievement coach, and he has a very unique background and very inspiring story that he'll share right here at the top of the interview. Tom is actually a former Mr. America bodybuilder, and he's went on to help a lot of people get their mindset right, find their self-confidence, find the will to achieve great things. And he's also the author of a great book called 7 Rules of Achievement. And we'll talk a lot about those 7 rules in today's interview. You don't want to miss this one. It's full of energy and full of great information. So let's jump right in. Welcome, everyone. I'm very excited today to welcome Tom Terwilliger to our program. As I mentioned in the introduction, Tom's the author of the 7 Rules of Achievement. He's also the president of Coaching Leadership Excellence, and he's a former Mr. America bodybuilder. So Tom's going to have a lot of insights into mindset, both in success in all of aspects of our lives, but especially in our fitness. So with that, Tom, I'd just like to let you introduce yourself for those who don't know you and give a little bit about your unique background and what got you to where you are today.
Well, I appreciate it. First, let me say, I really appreciate you taking the time to put together this project and to serve people in the way you're doing, because I know, having done something similar in the past, that it's no easy task to get together a group of people, at the very minimum 12, leading authorities in any given subject, and get them together to spend their time and to really serve your listeners and viewers. So I really got to commend you and reward you for taking that action and making it happen, putting it together, you might say.
Well, thank you very much.
And I'm honored to be part of it. So I want to let you know I really thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Excellent.
And yeah, you're right about one thing for sure. I've got a somewhat unique background, but I think everyone does in many respects. Everyone's got their own unique experience. You might say story, right? Everyone's got a story. I think there was an old TV show. There was, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was about Los Angeles and the naked city, where there's a million people, a million stories. Everybody's got their unique experience in life. For me, it goes back way early on as a child, growing up as an identical twin, experiencing some learning disabilities back in those days that were really challenging for us, my twin brother and I. And as a result, we started to, you might say, express ourselves in ways that weren't the most productive.
Okay.
First it was the class clown, then it was the class fighter. We were always fighting. And it was a sort of a detrimental period of time, because I developed some really limiting, disempowering beliefs around who I was and what I deserved in life as a result. And again, I know this component for a lot of people is something that they experienced as well. I used to think I was the only one who had dyslexia, hyperactivity, what they would probably or have defined today as attention deficit disorder.
Sure.
And as a kid, you think you're the only one who's got this stuff, and it makes you weird, And so I grew up kind of thinking I was weird, and certainly different by all means, and the most disempowering was stupid. I believed I was stupid because I really had a tough time reading with the dyslexia, and if you can't read and you can't keep up with the rest of the class, and it starts to accumulate, and that was the disempowering belief. So by the time I was in 10th grade in high school, again, I was already a little bit different. I had my group of friends and peers, and we were kind of the tough guys, and we were already into drugs and alcohol even at that age. Mm-hmm. I got my first motorcycle, my first Harley Davidson. It was a 1954 Panhead. I converted it into a chopper, and I started riding a chopper Harley Davidson in 10th grade. Who does that?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And there was nobody. The hard part was there was nobody to ride with. So and there's only one better sound than a Harley Davidson, and that's many Harley Davidsons side by side. So I started. My job was then to seek out, to find guys to ride with that I could hang out with, because I had this image in my mind, this sort of Marlon Brando image in my mind, that this was cool, this was power, this was strength. A group of guys riding motorcycles. It was also a way of bonding and connecting and creating a brotherhood, which I also loved. So I went to whatever bars I would ride by that had motorcycles parked out front. And even today, not so bad today, but I got to tell you, in the late 70s, early 80s, you drove by a bar that had Harley Davidsons parked out front of it, it really probably wasn't the most wholesome environment. And as a result, I started riding with guys that were, great guys, certainly, but I picked up with a group of outlaw bikers in Long Island and New York and started riding with them. And for the next 5 years, that was my lifestyle, riding with and as an outlaw biker. And until one day, I kind of made a decision. And I won't get into the full story. The story is in the Seven Rules of Achievement. If you'd like to pick up a copy of the book, I
Sure.
think you'll enjoy the story and the rules. And some of the things we'll talk about today are embedded in there as well. But I made an empowering decision. It was a tough one, but the decision was to leave that lifestyle. And it happened as a result of sort of a traumatic experience. But the key was the decision. So with that decision, I mean, everything changed. I got to tell you, and a lot of us face those moments in our lives, those experiences where we know we're involved in something, or living a lie, or we're not being our authentic selves in many respects. We
Yep.
put on a false face, and this is who we become, or we think we are in many respects. And sometimes with just a decision, a really empowering decision that that's it, enough. And if you follow through on that decision, and you make it, and you follow through with congruent action, everything can change. And for me, it changed. The big question was, how is it going to change? I didn't know. It's sort of like a leap of faith. You know that what you're leaving behind is like, I can't take that anymore. I will not allow that in my life anymore. It's destroying my life, my relationship, whatever it might be.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to take this giant leap away from something, but we don't always know exactly what we're leaping towards. So what happened is you just land, and it just sort of it opens up all sorts of opportunities. For me, it was getting back in the gym because in high school and early on, I was training, and I actually competed in a couple of bodybuilding contests and did pretty well. So I got back in the gym, started rebuilding the body that I've been destroying for the last 5 years.
Okay.
Along with it, I started rebuilding my self-esteem, my sense of self-worth as well. So
Sure.
those things were also really important factors in the gym. And we'll talk about strength of will a little bit later on, but a big part of that strength of will happens in the gym when you push yourself, when you go beyond what's comfortable. Anytime you go beyond what's comfortable, you strengthen your internal ability to move forward with other decisions. So the bodybuilding career started to take off, and I wound up competing in several competitions and ultimately competing in the Mr. America and winning that title, and competing in several Mr. Olympias, and sort of created a whole new life, a whole new experience that was much more authentic with who I really was versus the other lifestyle that somehow I allowed myself to get wrapped up in.